Hi, this is Brittany with my very first resin video. I don't want to say it's a tutorial because I am just a beginner, but join me in my journey learning more about resin. I am making these 3 flower resin coasters, and I start off by mixing my resin about 8 ounces. There's quite a bit of bubbles right now, but we will work on that later. So here are the materials I use: the Let's Resin Ocean White pigment, mica powder in pearl white, crushed glass. I am using gold acrylic paint for some color, then rose red alcohol ink from Let's Resin. Now let's separate some resin into smaller containers for the white and gold. You can see here I have my molds laid out. I will make 2 of each design. So I mix in about 2 ounces of resin onto the mold, spread them out evenly so that they have a thin layer on the bottom of the mold. So I haven't bought a heat gun yet, and I'm using this lighter to pop the bubbles on the mold right now. Okay, so now it's time to mix up the white, and I put a couple drops in there and mix it up. I also added some pearl powder there to make it a little bit shimmery. So I mix it up real well, and now I just have to wait for the consistency to get a little bit thicker. In the meantime, I am going to mix in my color, which is this red, it's kind of pinkish, alcohol ink, and I'm just going to use this little container here and mix that up. I also added some shimmer powder or mica powder on this one as well. It makes it more solid looking, as well as gives it a pretty shimmery effect. So mix that all up well. Next, I am mixing in the gold color. I'm using acrylic paint. It's the folk art one, and I just put quite a bit in there actually. Mix that up, and this one has a shimmer in it already. So next, I am putting the crushed glass in the middle of each of my molds here, and I give it a little twirl spin into the resin. Just make sure not to scrape the bottom of your mold because you don't want to scrape up your mold. Just kind of do the top part, and that would be that. So now comes the fun part with all the colors, and I'm using some alcohol inks. I didn't tell you the colors ahead of time, but this one is a purple alcohol ink, and I'm putting it in the middle. So next is like a little pink alcohol ink. I put that in the middle of the purple color, and you can see how the colors are kind of spreading out. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit and work on the next set of coasters by putting the pink around the edges. As you can see, I do it to each of it. And for that last set of coasters, I actually forgot to film it, and it just, on the next clip, it's gonna pop up as already done. So I don't have the clips for that, unfortunately. I'm back to working on the first set of coasters, and I am putting a little bit of mica powder in the middle for some glitter, and doing it to the second one as well, and the third one. So now I want to make sure that the bubbles are all popped there, and I'm using that little lighter that I have right now. I am adding more color to this first set of coasters, and you can see that it's spreading pretty well. I decided to come in with my alcohol ink, the white one, and put that in the middle, and the effect is kind of cool. You can see it spreading out. And then more color with the purple or violet alcohol ink. And again with white alcohol ink. You can see here that I put the white resin that I colored into a Ziploc bag and use it as a piping bag. And I'm just going to cut just a tiny bit off the tip. And I'm going to pipe it in onto my coasters in a circular motion, as you can see. And for this one, I'm piping it like flower petals. And piping this one onto the first set of coasters in a circular motion as well. Here I've picked up the gold colored resin and putting it on the edges of the first set of molds that I have. I also decided to put a little bit also onto that last set. And now it's time to draw in the petals. I am pulling in from the outside, going in. Same thing with the second set of coasters, and just make sure you don't scratch up the bottom again. You just want to pull the resin that's on top. And I am adding more mica powder right there in the middle of each of the coasters. I let that dry overnight, and this is what it all looks like. And it's time to unmold each of the sets of coasters. And 1, 2, 3. It came out pretty cool. There's a bunch of little blobs here and there, and the middle part is kind of heavy, but overall I really like the color of this one, and the blooms look kind of cool. Next, let's unmold this one. And 1, 2, 3. That's pretty cool. Again, the middle part is very white heavy. It's kind of blobby, but I do like the colors of the petals. And it's very sparkly, so I think it turned out pretty nice. Now let's work on unmolding the second set of coasters, the one with the pink edges. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. I like it. I think it looks very pretty as well. And let's move on to the last set of coasters, the purple one with the gold edges. And the glitter is very sparkly, but they are kind of globby, so I'm not sure if I would do that again. Or I'm thinking maybe I should put a background of clear. And that's That's what it looks like when at the other side, and I think it looks really nice. It's a little bit messy, but I am still learning and I like how it turned out. So that's it for the 3 of the design coasters that I made. I hope you enjoyed and follow me in my journey to learning resin.